Holidays are meant to be refreshing, restoring, and relaxing. And often when we come back from holidays, we've been doing things that we haven't normally done in our lives. So sometimes there's a bit of stress in the system. So we're just going to have a little session today that's going to target the areas of maybe carrying backpacks too much, sitting too much, maybe even walking too much or doing fun activities. So let's take it away with a really simple start. So make sure you've got a nice comfortable surface to be on. We're going to begin in a kneeling shape. And once you do that, we're going to stretch one leg out in front of you. So just as a balance, maybe you need a wall to hold on to. Make your foot go further forward than where your knee is, and then we're going to lunge forward towards the foot. If you can get your hands to the ground, that's great. If you can't, you can always just put your hands onto the tops of your leg area. So in this position, we're starting to open up into the back leg. And this is really important from a lot of travel if you've been sitting in planes, trains, buses, motorbikes, whatever it is that you've been doing. Then we move that backward towards your back foot, and you're going to lift your toes off the ground, balancing onto your heel. Again, if you're unable to make it towards the ground, then you can come up into that more standing position, just using your hands lightly onto the front of your thigh. So we're going to just make that move happen forward and backward a few times. So as we're going to the front, we're stretching through the open leg at the back, and then as we're going to the back, we're stretching through the calf and the hamstring on this side. So as we travel forward and backward, remember to try and keep your back as long as possible, which means you're not rounding, you're not collapsing, your shoulders are drawn back and away. And just walking forward one more time and then walking it back. So often, coming all the way up, we're going to move that leg, off to the side now, so it's in line with your supporting leg, which makes the balance a little bit more challenging. You're just going to go into that same position, and from there you're just going to open your knee out to the side and then bring that knee back in. Now perhaps you aren't able to open it very far, so just go to a range that feels comfortable for you. This one I suggest highly that you can reach the ground, so if you need to get a block or a book or a chair or something just to support your hand, then that would be a good option. Opening the knee one more time, bringing it back, and then we're going to go into that same backward stretch. So this time, because your foot is on an angle, it's crossing the diagonal. I want you to drop your toes down toward the floor. Use your fingers just to give it a gentle nudge and then bring it back up. So what's really happening is that your leg is rotating inward at the top of your hip socket and relax. And that's going to help open up some of the muscles at the back of the pelvis, but also free up your sciatic nerve. So as I was saying, sometimes when we're on these travels, we do things that are just repetitive, but not, you do so much walking and compared to where you live normally in your life. And we forget to do the stretching and the organizing afterward. All right, and then bringing yourself up, and we're going to switch to the opposite side. So we start with our foot forward. Make sure you're comfortable with knees, so pad yourself up as you need to, and then travel into the forward position first. So again, in this shape, you don't want to be collapsed in your legs. You want to feel like you've got integrity, which means, can I take my hands away and still be in the same shape with my body, or am I relying everything on my hand support? And then walking it back again, just getting the stretch through the back of the calf, the hamstring. I always notice a difference between my two sides. Never once is the same. There's always some sort of a subtle change, but this one is not so subtle. This one is quite dramatically different from my front legs. And again, just focusing on that length. It's so tempting to want to round into the body and collapse, but holding your length is really where you'll get extra benefit through the leg. So with hamstrings, everyone's obsessed about stretching your hamstrings. They're only one part of the equation. You should be more sort of interested in kind of getting more fluidity in your body. Let's go one more time to the front and then to the back. And then from there, we'll just come back up into a stand shape and then walking your foot over to the opposite side. Like I said, there's a bit of a balance challenge to get your knee and your foot balanced. And then coming down. I only have one hand supporting as I open my knee out to the side and bring it back. You can use your hand on your leg just to guide that movement in and out. Never feel you're trying to force yourself down. We're not doing what's classically known as a pigeon stretch in yoga. It's just getting a little bit of movement into that hip socket. And then from there, we're going to go back into the stretch. Take your toes off the floor. Turn your foot down, use the other hand if you want to as a little guide, and then relax it. And again, rotating it inward and outward. So lots of things will want to go wrong with this position, like you'll want to swing your hip around. Try keep the back of the pelvis aiming to the back and just focusing on the leg. One more time like that. I'm already building up a sweat, by the way. This is pretty intense. And then bringing yourself all the way back. All right, whoops. It's a bit noisy on my mat. So taking a seat wherever is comfortable for you, we're going to reach for a foot. And however you get there, sit on a chair, sit on wherever, but grab a hold of your foot. We're going to take our hands. So I've got my left leg forward, my right hand is at the heel, and my left hand is over the tops of the feet. And I'm going to swing my foot inward and outward, doing my hands going in opposite twisting actions. So the foot, again, is just one of the most amazing designs of your body. So much flexibility to it, so many joints, 33 joints in this little foot of ours. And often we are cladded in shoes and we don't get the opportunity for these feet to actually do what they need to do. So just giving them a little bit of a touch and feel of them is going to help open them up. Take your fingers and lace them through your toes so that you've got a nice squeeze happening. And this can be really challenging if you're not used to having quite spread toes. So start where it's comfortable, and then we're going to go squeezing into the toe line and then release. And again, squeeze and release. And this is good not only for separating the toes out, but there are a lot of pressure points here that are relating to the head. So one of the areas that we end up with a bit of tension in is the neck and shoulders from carrying backpacks and suitcases and all those kind of things. All right, and then releasing from there. Let's just go for a little march down. So from big toe to the heel, just a pressure point down that instep or inner arch of your foot. I do generally do this about 3 times in each line. So let's just go again. And the pressure is completely up to you. You can make it as intense as you want or as light as you want, but the point is that you are touching that area. And we've got so many receptors in our feet giving us information to the brain to help us know and navigate our space. Now I go between the second and the third toe all the way down the length. And Bear's going to come and join me. You're going to sit over here. And again, we're just going down that center arch. Oh, and this feels so good, you know, just, again, once you've been on an aeroplane, if that's how far you've been, or a car, but generally on aeroplanes, you get a lot of swelling in your legs and limbs. So this is a nice way just to distribute that lymphatic fluid that's in our body again. All right, so that was the middle line. Now we do the last line, which is in line with the baby toe side all the way down. So again, I mentioned I am doing 3 times on this line just to get that flow happening. And each line feels different, and that's normal because we have different functions at different parts of our feet. And this is not about reflexology right now. This is just about like literally what the bones are looking like underneath our feet. All right, and then rest from there. We'll go ahead and do the other side. So as we begin, we go from big toe side to the heel, and again, pressing down and through. So as you're doing this, or after you're done this, maybe drop a comment in the comments below and let me know where you've just been traveling to, and what the tension spots are that you are feeling after your travels. Oh, sometimes you could stay here for hours as you do these moves. So again, I did mention that you can push as hard or as light as you want to. We never want to feel like we're causing pain to the system, but you do want to make a change down the center line between the second and the third toes. So as I'm doing these moves, it's I'm kind of mimicking the areas of the spine. So from the big toe to the heel is more related to the lumbar spine, which is the lower back. The midline one is related, it's the longest line, is related mostly to the thoracic spine, which is from ribs all the way up to the crown, top of the neck. And then the last one, which is out on the baby toe side, is your cervical or your neck musculature. So Again, maybe you know these things, maybe you don't, maybe it makes an impact in your life, maybe it doesn't really matter. The fact is that you're touching it, and that's what's important. All right, I'm on my last one on that edge, and then we forgot to twist it. Well, I forgot to twist it, I should say. So we go with our hands here and here, and we're going to twist in and twist out. And you can have a sense of wringing something out, like rinsing a face cloth or a towel, just spinning out the excess fluid of it. And then we're going to take the fingers and lace them through the toes, and then go for your squeeze and release. So even though I started with the pressure point before, it doesn't matter. There's not a sequence, there's not a particular order. The fact is that you're just doing it. And something we can think about is symmetry or asymmetry. So symmetry is not really necessary. Everyone's obsessed with being equal on the two sides, but we're not equal on the two sides. If we opened up our body, we would see we're very different on the inside. We have more preference on one side than the other for terms of moving things around, using your limbs. So we're going to take a lie down now, by the way, onto your back. And then from here, we're just going to go into my most classic, beautiful position, and that is a bridge. So raising the hips up into the air and then coming down. Let's go really slowly, just melting the back into the floor. And if you're lucky, you may hear a pop or a crack in your own body, and it's nothing to be too concerned about, but it's just kind of getting all the things working again. And coming up, we're just going to do 3 of these, because it really doesn't take a lot for you to get a little bit of mobility back in the system, a little bit of fluid flowing. And then one more time, raising the hips up into the air, and then bringing yourself all the way back down again. From here, we're just going to go into pulling the knees towards you so you can get a nice stretch and flattening through your lower back, and then relax that. And again, a little bit of a pressure down onto the tops of the shins, which allows the tail to just flatten, or the tail to lift off and the lower back to flatten, and then return. Of course, if any of these moves don't feel good in your body, then you probably are wise to avoid them. But for most people, this is pretty okay. All right, and then from here, we're just going to place your right foot down, take your left leg and hook it so that your forearm is underneath your thigh. So we're going to keep the leg close toward the body. We're going to go for an attempt of a straightening of the leg, but there's not really going to be a straightening. And then lowering the leg back down again. And what this does is it just creates a new sense of stretch through the hamstring area without affecting anything else. And it's quite a nice stretch, or I think it's quite a nice stretch. All right, and then from there, you're going to pull your knee out to the side. You've still got a hold on. I take my fingers and lace them together to anchor me down, and then we're going to go for the stretch again. So this time, I've got more of an inside stretch happening and reaching open. And my aim is not to be a ballerina right now and straighten my leg all the way out. I'm just exploring the ranges of movement that are available in my hip. I'm going to lengthen my opposite leg away, and I'm going to take this leg across the body now, lower it to the floor, toes touch the ground or onto your opposite leg, and then turn and look over your arm, middle finger in the direction of the outstretched arm. And then bringing yourself all the way back. And we'll go ahead and do the other side. So again, taking your leg and folding it in underneath you, and then stretching the leg up and bringing it back down. So as we do these moves, you might have a puppy who missed you and has come back to say hi. And then one more time there. And then we're going to take that leg just off to the outside. Now, if you do want a deeper stretch in this, you can straighten the leg down onto the mat, and that's going to make it just a little bit more intense across the pelvic area. So just do what feels good for you. Anyway, we're going to straighten the leg now along the mat, and then we're going to go over. So you can keep your toes on the ground, and you can stretch over, or you can put your toes onto the floor. Either way, I want some part of your toe touching something else. And then looking over to the side. Just taking a couple of breaths into the ribs. And then bringing yourself all the way back from there. All right, we're just going to roll over onto a side and come back up onto an all fours position. And then from here, we're going to go into a gentle twist of our upper body. So we're going to go through into head down, shoulder down if possible, and elbow bent off to the side. And then from there, we're going to pick it all the way up. Take your hand behind your head and rotate in the opposite direction. So we go through and we bend, and then we come up and we twist. And we'll do that one more time, going through and then coming up and twist. And then we'll go in the opposite way. So make sure that the hands and knees are placed evenly. And then we go over. And first just start like, where am I placed? If you can't get to the ground, you might have to be up, and that's okay. And then coming all the way up, hand behind the head, and twist out. So I'm not bothered how high I twist to the ceiling part. I'm just noticing, okay, it feels different on this side. And I'm not forcing myself to do anything that my body doesn't want to do. And then one more time up toward the ceiling. All right, so we want to open up into the chest because this is a common area of sort of slumping. And again, if we've got backpacks and things on our body, that can put a lot of tension into the upper spinal area. So we're going to start on an all fours position for our sort of stretch of our spine. So you're going to aim your pubic bone, which is down here, away from your chin bone. So the two ends are going to move away from each other. And then we're going to feel like they come closer towards each other. So focusing on the front line of your body, pubic bone away from chin, stretching it out. That gets a great stretch through the abdominal wall, and then draw those 2 points towards one another. We'll do that one more time, just going into this lovely gentle stretch. So notice I haven't tilted my head too far back. I'm still looking more forward because I don't want to collapse in the neck area. So that might be enough for you just to continue doing that. Otherwise, we're going to come down onto our bellies and just go for a full back extension. So we'll start with our arms at a right angle shape. Start with your head nice and low, and then begin to lift the front of the chest up away from the floor. So we've got a few options. Here is where you can stay and then lower back down. Or otherwise, if you're up for it, we're going to go all the way through from the upper back. Start to gently put a pressure into your hands and raise your belly away from the mat. At this point, your glutes should be working, your hamstrings should be working, your feet should be energized. And then as we come down, we lie the spine down very gently on the front side, lowering your elbows, and then finally your head. We'll do that again, coming up. Let your eyes look forward in front of you. Look to something at horizon height, not going to look up higher. And then lowering down, see how you can slow it down. Can you actually use your spinal muscles, your abdominal muscles, instead of just collapsing through your arms? One last time as we bring ourselves all the way up to your favorite position, and then lowering yourself back down to the mat. All right, so the one last move we have to make is going to be a classic stretch of your hips. So multiple ways of doing these things. Today we're just going to do one of my favorite ways, which is to sit in a cross-legged position, which is where Bear likes to sit, but that's a little bit hard for this exercise, Bear. All right, so we'll see what we can do. You're going to have to move in a moment, my love. So from here, what we're going to do is go into a forward position. So you can start up onto your hands. You could drop down onto your forearms. You could even stack fists on top of each other and just rest your head down. Of course, if you've got more range, you go lower. So you go where you go. The leg that's in front, that's the hip that's getting the stretch, which means, of course, we're going to go for a second sided stretch. And again, you don't have to be here for super long. You just have to be here enough to feel that something is stretching, opening, widening. And then let's switch over to the opposite side. So cross the legs over. And again, start out. You don't have to always go just to the end range. You can just explore, see what is available for you today. What does your body feel like it needs the most? If you're in your stretches and you are feeling the sense of tension, gripping, holding, then you're not in the stretch correctly. You want to back out of it a little bit where you can feel, oh, that's different. So even if I'm in the stretch now and I focus not on having my head drop down, but my head lengthening out, my shoulders lowering down, it makes a major difference to the stretch. And it's actually much nicer quality than just collapsing forward. So play around with the stretches, be creative with what you're doing. Your body will be talking to you in ways that I can't talk to you. So listen to those messages and I think that's all we're going to go for today. Oh no, let's do one more thing just before we go, and that's a neck stretch, because that, whether you've been sleeping and dropping your head down like that on an aeroplane, or maybe being in a bed that's different, your neck might be feeling it. So let's take your right hand, take it over towards your left ear, and then drop your head down. So we're just doing a gentle persuasion of your head towards your shoulder. I don't know why I close my eyes every time I do this. It's just one of those stretches where you're like, oh, that is so good. And then bringing yourself back up. Let's do the other side. So same action. So right now I just have my hand away from my body, just creating some nice length through the side of my neck area. And then bringing it back. We're going to do that again. I'm going to spin around so you can see what I'm going to do with my opposite arm. So we go again, right hand over and bringing the ear down. Now with the other hand, I'm just going to wrap it around and try and reach for something on the opposite side. And as I do that, I'm then going to pull my shoulder and elbow back and then bring it forward and taking it back and bringing it forward. Now the truth is, when the arm goes backward, the slackness becomes looser. And then when I bring my shoulder forward, the slackness goes tighter. That's what happens in my body. As I sort of pull the shoulder forward, I get more stretch coming down the side of my neck. All right, let's change sides. So other side. Turn your head down to the side, send your hand behind you. You might be only here or here, it doesn't matter, just go as far as you can go. And then again, holding the shape of the stretch, and then draw the arm and shoulder back, and then allow it to come forward and get that deeper, deeper stretch. And again, open and narrow it. And then 2 more times. And then last one. This is possibly one of my favorite stretches, by the way. And then releasing out of that. Okay, that really is the last of our stretchy series. I hope you enjoyed your holiday. I hope you enjoyed this post-holiday stretching series. And I look forward to bringing you some new content soon. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those magical, wonderful things. Thanks for watching. See you soon.